What's up everyone? It's been a while, certainly a lot longer than what we'd planned, but for a little bit of context, me and Liam at the start of the year decided to take a bit of a short break and to try and sort of focus and streamline the content so that the quality was consistent and we could put things out on a regular basis. Unfortunately, the way that we planned things, it sort of lined out with when the world was brought to its knees, and in the current climate I think there's more important things in the world than sort of prioritising a YouTube channel and making videos, etc. However, I have found that I've spent a lot more time sort of watching these type of things, and it is good for people's mental health to sort of have some normality and something to watch that they're passionate about. So I am going to do what I can to continue with the E30 build at the moment, but please understand that it's not going to be regular, and some parts I might have to wait for, and some things are going to take a lot longer. We are both key workers, so we have both been working, and obviously we haven't seen each other because we don't live in the same house. So I haven't actually seen Liam for a long time, and we haven't been able to get together, which was a big part of why we originally did this in the first place, was to sort of just spend time with friends and do car stuff. But as I say, that's not really a priority thing in the world at the moment. So I don't want to dwell on these things because you're hearing it every day, everywhere. Nobody's living the normal life at the moment, and I just hope that everyone's staying safe and doing what they can, because it is very important. And before I go on too much, let's just jump into the E30. So if you haven't watched the videos before, my name is Adam, and behind me is my Dolphin Grey E30. The car started out life as a 318i, very basic spec. It's pretty much the lightest E30 you can get, being a pre-facelift, non-ABS, non-anything model. It does have electric windows and stuff. It's been fitted with a houndstooth M3 interior, which is pretty cool. But I bought this car as a bit of an impulse last year, and I sort of enjoyed it for a few months and then got completely carried away, as I always do. I actually bought the car because I have a 2002 which I've got completely carried away with, and it's took probably 4 times longer than what I expected to, and probably cost about 4 times as much, but let's not get into that. So if this is your first time watching, I've already pulled out the M10. The M10 is a great engine. It was in production for probably longer than any other BMW engine, as far as I know. It's a great thing, but it's just going to be used elsewhere, let's say. S54. I briefly mentioned I bought an E46 M3 to strip. That's what's left of it. And I've got a ZF 5-speed gearbox because it's about 15 kilograms lighter than the E46 M3 box, and the car I bought was an SMG, so rather than messing around with the box, that one bolts straight on. I didn't really want to start stripping the other box down, messing about there. I don't really think I need the 6th gear. It might be good for long journeys, but I think with the ratio that I'm using, I'll probably be okay. I just went and picked up something that, well, it already belonged to me, but 3.46 medium case LSD. Self-explanatory really. I think that gearing with that box should work pretty well. The first 5 are basically the same as the E46. Wheel size is a little bit smaller, so you have to account for that as well. I've done the calculations, and I think it should be pretty much about spot on for what I want. Some people use like 3.15 and 3.25. I think generally they're boosted cars, and to be honest, I don't really want to be doing sort of 170, 180 mile an hour in an E30. I've got an M3, and I think really in reality you have a lot more fun at the lower end with the acceleration than you do just going flat out in a straight line. So I already pulled off the old Jimmy Hill lip. These are quite a cool looking thing on pre-facelift cars. However, it was damaged already, and someone did a pretty poor job of doing the drift stitch, as people like to call it. It looks pretty grim. I've never really tried to repair plastic before, so if anyone's got any ideas of how to do that, I'd like to do it, because I don't think I'll keep this look forever on the car, but I do want to keep it like that for the first phase and really focus on the underneath and the mechanicals first. Speaking of which, the real sort of aim of today's video, I want to get the interior out. I actually already started, but it was more so to remove the auto linkage and the door card from that door, because the door's rusty. So basically seats out, carpet out, etc., because there is some rust on the floor, and I'd rather get on with repairing the rust so I know that the car's structurally sound, and then add a few bits. I've got a few strengthening plates to add, and they're actually over there in the box. And I've also got some strut braces which got delivered this week. I may actually chuck those on just to, in some attempt to keep everything in line, because I don't really think I'm cutting enough out for it to be a problem, but it might as well have it on rather than not. So we'll have a quick look at that first. I think we'll chuck one of them on first. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yeah, to be honest, the real reason I wanted to fit this is because I was a little bit concerned. These had looked as if they'd actually warped slightly when it had either been welded or coated, or maybe in the mill. But actually it sort of went into place pretty well as I tightened things down. There's a slight lift here, but I think it's because of the shape of the strut top. It's pretty hard to form the steel that way, so maybe it'll require to run like a little small spacer underneath there, just to, rather than pull it down, just to pack it out. But overall that looks pretty good, and I think looking at the height of it, it should clear the top of the S54. I am going to be running velocity stack, so I won't have the box on top of there, which takes up a little bit more space. Another concern of mine, this brake booster gets in the way, so we're going to have to run a smaller booster. Apparently the E91's fit. I think my previous car was a Clio one with a 7 Series master cylinder, which it was a long time ago, so I can't really remember, but I'll figure out which way is best. I haven't bought anything yet because I don't know what brakes I'm going to be running. I decided we might as well fit the rear one as well. It's nothing to do with it being held in place really, I just wanted to see what they fitted like. I've removed this rear box, and to be honest, I started to relocate the battery to the boot. You might have noticed the cables in the front. My friend Corey was nice enough to send me the filler for the battery to go into the boot. It's just a piece of plastic basically to hold the battery, and then some little brackets, and it replaces the plastic boot tub. I started making a video on that, and to be honest, it was just a bit of a time I was a bit sort of demotivated, and I wasn't really happy with the way that things were going with the videos and stuff, the direction of it, so I decided to just have a bit of a break, and I'd mentioned that at the start. So we did miss that, but thanks Corey, and I'm going to try and fit the rear brace. I don't think you're going to be able to see much of it. Right, I've been messing about now. I've come to terms with the fact that I'm just trying to avoid the inevitable, and I need to pull all the interior out and make a mess. A quick observation is that the pockets are solid. There's a bit of light surface rust there, but the other one's got a battery in it. The boot was actually leaking into there, so I think the surface rust on that is actually from what was running down the back of the light and making a little swimming pool in the boot. But there is a principle here that there's a cavity between the boot floor and the pocket as such inside, and you can't see what's in there, so I'm following the principle of Schrodinger's rust, that it might be rusty but it also might not be rusty, so it is and it isn't, and I spend quite a lot of time thinking about it, so I think I need to cut it open just for peace of mind, and for all we know there's a dead cat inside there. I imagine this part's really not that exciting to watch, so I think what we'll do is I'll remove the interior and then we'll jump ahead to see how bad the rust is, because I know everyone likes a bit of pain and suffering, so here we go. Right, as I said, it probably wouldn't have been the most interesting thing to watch, and trying to film removing and installing car interior is quite difficult anyway, so it's not terrible, but it's also not good. Not sure how much, if you can see, it's kind of dark, but that's daylight. That's daylight through the floor, and over there is also daylight through the floor, and over here it's not terrible, but you can see it's certainly had a repair before, and it's not, I wouldn't say it was a bad job, but I mean it's solid, it's been treated and sealed and had underseal put on it, but I do think it looks a bit nicer if you sort of grind the welds back and smooth it out, just to sort of make it look original again. But you know, it's solid. Other than that, so I removed the whole interior of the carpets and most of the sound deadening, just because when I am doing repair work to the metal, it would have set on fire, so it needs to be done, and I was hoping it'd reveal any anything I'd not noticed prior. The inside of here looks pretty good. There's a tiny bit of surface rust there, but that's pretty much nothing, and this side there is a little bit, so you see all the underseal and stuff in there. Can only assume, I mean it feels solid, but can only assume that it's had a bit of rust there at some point, or it's also very slightly dented, so it's maybe had a little bit of a knock and then it's been repaired. From this side of the, well, this door's bad, but I've got another door there. I mean it all looks straight and solid enough. It's all solid on the outside, so at this stage I'm not sure about that part. I will take a better look at it. We're going to lift the car up now and we're going to look from underneath how much metalwork needs doing. I really want to get through this a lot quicker than I have with the 2002, but that shell was really bad and I wasn't in a position to do any of that myself. The car's lifted up and I made a start cleaning some bits away. Things don't look too bad up at the front. Obviously you're going to get bits of surface rust and stuff everywhere, and I want to paint the engine bay and clean everything up anyway, so as far as the front I'm not too concerned as of yet. So I've cleaned this away and it's not too bad because it goes to solid metal fairly quickly. My concern at the moment is how far up the A post it goes, so I think we're going to have to remove the front end next. Same goes for this side really. Nice hole. I will clean that away and figure out how bad it is. Looking at it, I'm not sure if that's patchwork that's been done in the past. So I've always found with older cars that I've bought that usually the cause of like big amounts of rust like that's actual like previous repair jobs, so people patching over things rather than cutting it out and doing it properly. My other car was riddled with that, and it's been a nightmare. But yeah, other little bits. So this seems to match up with something inside, so I might have to cut that open, and I want to have a look inside the chassis legs and see how bad they are. Bits of rust here that I think is going to clean up, and to be honest, I mean, for a 35-year-old car, it's really not looking that bad. Sill was one of the first things I already knew about when I got the car, really, but I poked it through just to see how bad it was. As I mentioned about the pockets, these are usually pretty rotten all over, especially with the age of the car. They're usually pretty bad, but they don't look terrible. I'm going to continue cleaning them up and see where we're at. Bit of surface rust along the rear lines, nothing too bad again, and there is a little bit, the corner of this one's gone, so I do think we're going to have to get inside. What do you think? Should I cut away at that panel and, you know, try and see what we can do with it, or should I just patch that little bit? I think we're going to have to do it, aren't we? Nice. The car's, yeah, I've disconnected the shocks because the rear end's coming off next. As I said, the car's really not that bad. There's a little hole in the rear rail which is above where the exhaust sits, so I don't know if it's a combination of probably stones getting flicked up off the back wheels and stuff, and heat off the exhaust, and yeah, a bit of everything. I don't know if that's where the exhaust was. Is that a dent, or might be a dent, who knows. Yeah, overall, yeah, I'm not, like I said, it's not terrible, it's not good, so I'm a bit indifferent about it. There's a bit of work to do, but it all brings videos. Yeah, this video, I know it's definitely not been as good as some of the previous ones, but I just want to try and get back into the routine of doing stuff and make some progress with the car, which is the most important thing to me. I think next time round we're going to pull the rear end off, strip it down and try and get it blasted and powder coated, because I want to do everything properly, and I've got a new front subframe coming, so having everything restored on the underside and then resealing everything, I think it's going to be pretty good. So thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you soon.